Hi there, this is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe. Today we are discussing from the book Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. And today we're discussing You Are What You Think. Really, also known as accurate thinking, is this portion of the book. Those in the room with me can click the live stream box next to me and get a copy of the PDF. If that doesn't work for you, and or if you are interested in other success principle resources, I just put a link into the chat area. In exchange for your email address, you get a lot of free downloads. Be updating that. I'm hoping to do it on a maybe bi-weekly basis. Just upload things that you will find of interest. Good morning, Will. Glad to have you with us. Hello. And I don't know if your name is Aja or Makita, but welcome. Glad you are here. You are what you think, really. Yes, you are. And I, who love to think I am logical, who would really rather side on the voice of reason over emotion, read the 6 pages or so out of my copy of Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, and wasn't surprised to learn the 2 things that I believe should be the premise of what we talk about today. One is the words matter. Words matter. The words that I tell myself, that I say to myself out loud, when you're in the middle of a project and it's going wrong or it's going well, you ever talk out loud? Hear the words you're saying? Well, you're saying those to yourself. The words that I say to myself up here in response or reaction to somebody else's behavior or their words. Words matter. They matter when I am talking to, with, about my husband. Same holds true for him. His words matter. When we're stuck for words, when we are trying to change the words that we use in our everyday language or in our own language to ourselves or towards anybody else, when we've recognized that maybe our words are negative, my little talisman here, that are reflective of a negative mental attitude, the words that include never or always or no good, bad, I'm bad, the kind of words I'm talking about. I'm stupid. You're stupid. Negative mental attitude. Those are reflective. So when we get stuck on that and we recognize that and we decide we want to make the change, there's a beautiful book called A Thesaurus. You can find it online. And it is an excellent resource for finding just the right word to express yourself. Now, that's what we can do to change that negative mental attitude into a positive mental attitude. Okay. So we're working from the premise that words matter. The words you tell yourself and the words you tell other people. The other thing we're going to be working from is that when we make a decision, and this is the part that when we make a decision, we always make it based on what we want. And I'm telling you that I read that and I felt it again, feel it every single time. It's like, but there's reason, there's logic. I base my decisions on the pros and cons and I weigh them one against the other. It sounds real good, doesn't it? But the reality, not even but, There is a reality to when we make our decisions, and I recognize that this happens. Even when I'm faced with more cons against the pros, it will still make sense to me to do something, so I do it. And it makes sense at the time. Sometimes I don't weigh the pros against the cons. I will tell myself, well, this just makes sense to do this. And the underlying emotion attached is that's what I want to do. I don't know about you, but for me, I've often been told by those really close to me, and I mean often over the years, and it's, well, I don't know why I'm telling you not to do something, you're going to do it anyway. And I've learned how to talk back to them and say, well, I didn't ask you to tell me what to do. So now the context is a little different. They'll say it and then they'll laugh and say, so I'm going to offer you what I think, even though I know you're going to do what you want to do anyway, because every time you do something, it's because you want to. Oh, it was actually many years ago when I learned that I was responsible for the consequences of every decision I made. That's the way it was taught to me. And when I grasped that, I realized that I must be conscious of what it is that I'm going to do. And I started learning that really, truly, even when it appears that it is the worst thing that I could possibly do for myself or for you right now, I'm going to do it anyways because I want to. So that's what we're working from. Words matter. And when we make a decision, it really is because we want to go in that direction. That's the surface stuff. Go just a tad deeper. Unearth the extra in there. And we see that I'm not always conscious of what I want. Hence, when we're doing a pro and con list or we're talking with other people, this happens so much in business. You know, we had somebody on here not too long ago saying, well, I went to my family and told them what I wanted to do with my artwork. And they, first off, they didn't get very excited about it. And second of all, they weren't really that supportive. And yet she's doing it anyway because it's what she wants to do. She went to people whose viewpoints mattered to her, right? But she's doing it anyway. Now, she's not feeling really good about doing it because it really would have been nice to have people around her that supported what she did and said, rah, rah, yay, this is awesome. I get what you're doing. And hey, I can give you ideas over here, or you're going to be better if you go, whatever, right? But if she'd had that circle of people around her that were on her side, so to speak, she would have felt really good about doing it, but she did it anyway because she wanted to. So whatever struggles come from having made the decision can be dealt with. You just got to make the decision and go. And recognize that it's really what you want to do. See, I'm learning more and more when I look a little deeper at this, how to use the better words. And when I say that, it is, and I think I've said it, I know I've said this on this program, talk in your language. Yeah. You're using words that I don't understand or mean something different to me. There's always a chance for miscommunication. There's people that when they speak, they are coming from a place so different than mine. I truly don't understand what they're talking about. Truly. And I have acquaintances or in professional relationships where I've sent and recommended somebody go elsewhere because I literally am not able to understand what you're talking about. It's just the language that you use, and it's because words matter. And sometimes it's just not important enough for you to learn my language, for me to learn your language, because you're getting what you need by going to somebody else. It's great. Sometimes it is important, and those are the relationships that matter, right? So what I've learned to do is when my words aren't working or being understood, it is my responsibility to be aware of it, to recognize it, and to use different words. So the closer the relationship to me, the closer, I usually say it this way, the closer it is to my house, my home, the more attention I pay to it. And if you're that close, I'm going to be paying attention that my words set you off. You just went crazy. So was that me or was that you? Quick review. What did I just say? No, didn't have a thing to do. So now I'm going to get just quiet and let you go rant and rave and do what you need to do. And when you come back, say, so what's up? But there's other times when go to the one that's close and say something and trigger something and say, wow, what the heck just happened? And then there's patterns that happen after you've been around a while. We're working on our 26th year of marriage, and I got to tell you, some of the words, he could walk in here right now and say something and change my mood in a heartbeat. Good or bad. I can do the same to him. That's the power of the word. So knowing that, right? Knowing that, it is my responsibility to talk to him in his language. If I want things to get done, if I want things or us to be better, or I want to know something from him, or I want him to know that I care, right? And the same thing applies in the business relationships and the trainings that I do. When I'm in a live workshop setting, especially, this is why I like live workshops, to be honest with you. Whenever I've trained somebody on a new skill, and this, trust me, goes back to 1980s, I listen to you to see your response to what I'm saying, to see if the words make sense to you. And if I'm talking a foreign language, which can happen when you're learning a new skill, right? Then I start listening to you to understand your language, and I try to meet you where you are. And sometimes it doesn't work. And that's the most frustrating for me as a trainer and the person being trained. Most of the time it does. So I will be in a live group workshop, and I've had 25, 30 people in the workshop and fielding questions moving along the way and hearing, you're not getting this. You're telling me you're not getting this. You've been here a while and your life experiences are nothing like mine. So my examples aren't making any sense. So let's get an example that makes sense to you. And trying to respond that way. And it works. I appreciate it when people do it for me. That's how important words are, though. When you're speaking your language and you're seeing that others aren't getting it, take a look at maybe you could change your language. How important is it that they get it? So that's the word part. Now comes accurate thinking. What words are we telling ourselves? What words are we teaching ourselves to say regularly? Are they keeping us in a negative mental attitude? For those who don't know, this is a secret talisman that we have on the inside that we learned about at the beginning of this book. We all have this. Or is it the positive mental attitude? What are those words supporting? Now, the second thing is the decision making. Because of what we're telling ourselves, it affects what we want. And whether or not we're going to get what we want. And whether or not we're going to enjoy what we get when we get it. So I ask you, what words are you saying to yourself that you recognize? And if you recognize them as not conducive to your growth, not conducive to helping you get where you want to go, get some different words. If you're stuck, go to a thesaurus. Come up with some different words. The thesaurus will show you antonyms, which are the opposite words. And start putting those to use when you catch yourself. All right, so here's the way I work. I'm going to stop with the you part. You guys get this. So this is what happens to me. I will tell myself that something as simple as, boy, wouldn't it be nice if you were smarter? Doesn't sound bad, does it? But that's my way of saying that I'm stupid. I recognize that after years and then paying attention to what I was saying to myself and all that. And I would feel inadequate in situations, and I would attribute it to, well, I'm in a room full of people that are a heck of a lot smarter than me, so I wish I were smarter. Thinking that was a better way of saying, instead of telling myself, you're stupid. Really, I thought that was a better way. It's not. So by same situation, right? I'm in a room full of really smart people, and it's a struggle to keep up. I'm finding myself feeling a little inadequate. I can change that, and I do. And the way I change it is say, would you look at what I'm learning right now? Well, how cool is that? Trust me, it's very cool. I don't feel inadequate anymore. I'm right where I belong. I'm right in the midst of learning, which is what everybody's doing. Now, I still get there. I was at a conference last year that was incredible in terms of what was being shared from the stage. It was a lot of tech, and it was a lot of, well, let me just say, one of the most incredible discussions that was started by the speaker. The speaker was a surgeon who gathered a group together, and what their project is to figure out, because they've realized they can do this. They can do this. That humans can regenerate limbs. He's not sure that it'll happen in his lifetime or in mine, but he showed us the proof that the beginnings are there. Now it's up to, now that they found the key, so to speak, it is up to he and his team, that's their mission, is to expand that key and get more information and tests and experiments and all the things that go into this, right? And it's fascinating. And boy, we're all just on the edge of our seats. This was really cool stuff. And the discussion afterwards, I'm at a table with experienced healthcare people, physicians, R&D people in tech. And I couldn't contribute to the conversation. Boy, I'm feeling like I'm amongst mental giants here, and I'm starting to feel this inadequacy, right? Which took away from the excitement of learning everything, but I caught it. And I sat there and I actually glanced over at a friend of mine who is mental giant in his own right. And he just grinned and waved at me, and I saw him for the goof that he was, and I relaxed, and I said, man, I'm just going to sit and I'm going to absorb like a sponge. I'm in the right place. That's That's how you turn the negative mental attitude into a positive mental attitude with the words that you tell yourself. That's how you do it. That's how I've done it. I welcome anybody into the room who wants to jump in. Seat is open to anybody who wants to talk about how words matter in your own experience, maybe of switching out your words, of the realization that every time we make a decision, regardless of how much thought went into it, we always make it based on what we want. Hence, in my thinking, what we tell ourselves affects what we want and affects our decisions. So if I really, I want you to think about this. I want financial freedom. I want financial success. And to me, there's a particular number there. I want that. I tell myself I want that. But inside, I don't think I deserve that, because the thoughts that go in the back of the head are, you're not good enough. You don't have enough skills. You're picking the wrong business model. Or I've tried the business model for 3 months. It's not making me any money. So I'm going to try the other business model. Shiny object syndrome. This tactic is awesome. It's making me some money, but this one will probably make me more. So I'm going to stop what's working. See how the thoughts? Because what I really want out of fear is to stay where I am. That's why the decisions I make happen. It's my thoughts, right? I scare myself. Anybody can jump in. Betsy, I'd love to have you come in. I love what you have to share and say. Always love that. Hi, Samantha. It's good to see you. Welcome. Roxanne, I love that name. It's good to see you. Welcome. Anybody wants to jump in, you're welcome to. We're going to talk about words, how they matter, what you tell yourself. Oh, gosh, and that in the end, every decision you make is based on what you want. Okay, I don't think I can hear you, Betsy. Try me.
Okay. Hello? No. Huh.
Yeah, waving back at you, Samantha.
Okay. It doesn't
you hear her.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Well, now.
Let me get some light in
joy.
Here. Wait, hold on.
Can you hear me?
Hold on. Yes. Wait.
All right. Well, now, not quite sure what to.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Well, maybe she can have a conversation with you all.
Well, you can't hear me.
Okay
That's
with
weird.
that.
But you guys can hear me? All right.
Because I can't hear Betsy. Isn't that weird? Anybody else want to jump in a seat and see if I can hear you?
Always wonky, yeah.
Always helpful. Love this community.
That'd be interesting to translate.
Cindy, come on in and translate for me. See, okay. Words matter. Especially when they're said aloud.
Can you hear me, Charlene?
No. All
right. So it's Charlene. Cindy,
I can't mute you on my side. Well, isn't this bizarre?
Okay. Well, blab is
all right.
Bizarre, right?
Talk to yourself.
I wish I knew sign language.
All right,
well, there was a time when I knew sign, right? I knew it, but hey, or I'm sorry.
Yeah. Charlene.
Okay. Well, good idea, David, is asking me to refresh. Will, I'm making you a co-host so that...
Good. Okay. Anybody.
I will come back. All right. I shall return. Refreshing.
So, yeah. Okay. We hope so.
That's funny. That's a first. I've not ever seen that happen before.
I know. And I have the weirdest, awfulest video. I did my own show and it the replay was horrible. The sound was good, but anyway.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good.
I can hear.
Yay!
Go ahead.
Hi.
I'll pop out now.
Okay.
Oh, you don't have to pop out.
Stay.
It's up to you. But thank you for testing us. But yeah, it's up to you. Please have a conversation.
Yeah.
What do you think? Words matter, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Betsy.
Words definitely matter. Well, I was only going to say I had this appointment yesterday with a person that's sort of, supporting me, mentoring me with my business from the small business development in my community. And he shares with me that he's had several people come in with, products to launch, and I'm the only one, that's gotten so far.
Yeah.
And pat on the back. But no, the point of it is, I shared with him, guess why? PMA. That's the only reason. I'm no different than that next person. Honestly, my biggest blocker is always the money. It's like, where am I going to find the money? I'm switching that now. It's been transforming that relationship. But I told him, I said,
oh no.
Oh, geez, really?
I am
right in the middle of saying beautiful things.
I know.
Okay.
I'm going to pop out because my mom is 8:30 call, and I don't want the phone to disrupt you. But I am listening, and I do agree with today's topic. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Betsy, refresh. We're still here. So, we're going to blame Blab because we can. Because we can. They're probably they're always working on something in the background. And sometimes it's happening while I'm on air, while somebody else is on air, and we'll see it. Suddenly there'll be like have you ever seen the whole screen refresh? You didn't do anything, but suddenly everything just quickly refreshes and you're like, something happened, and yeah, that's what's happening. So the team is in the background, which is great stuff. So yes, anybody jump into the seat. Let's talk about what matters. I love what Betsy was sharing, that here she is amongst a whole group of people seeking assistance, mentoring, guidance from a small business development center, which are fantastic, by the way. I've been an advisor with an SBDC here in town. And Betsy is being told, she's back, is being told that out of all the people that have a product to create and they say they want, Betsy's the only one that's brought it through to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And we see it all the time. There's a fella that I'm connected to on Facebook. He's going through a rough time right now. He's letting other people's failures get to him. Mm. And what's happening is he's emotionally attached to them being successful. I mean, this happens to us. I really want this group I'm working with to get moving forward, to get this taken care of, to do this, to accomplish this, to finish this. Mm-hmm. I do this with my clients, that we've gotten you to this point, and then it just goes, and nothing I say or do is going to matter, right? And then I start hearing the words coming back at me that says, well, it's just too hard. I don't want to have to put that much effort in it. I've already spent this much money. Why should I spend more? Why should I? They're talking themselves out of it, right? And so what happens is, and I'm seeing it play out with him. He's reached his limit. He'll get through it. But he's reached his limit, and he's verbalizing it. He says, I'm tired of seeing people put in all this effort, and they're 3 feet from gold. They're this close. And then they just give up. They've had enough. They just they don't have what it takes to just keep going, because that's not what they want. That's what we have to come to realize. And what they're telling themselves is they want it, but they're not putting anything behind it to make sure that's really what they want. Are you willing to do the work? And I just keep reminding them that there's a reason there's a 1%. There's a reason there's a top 5%. There's a reason there's a top 10%. There's a reason for it. Right. Not everybody is ready for what it takes to build something and have something happen. Go ahead, Betsy.
That's true. I'm agreeing with you. I mean, 200%. And I think so. One of my things, so I've got, the positive thing going, but, we always get that sort of thing in the background. And mine has been, and I'm shifting it, I look at all the other experts in my field and compare, do the comparison thing, right? I mean.
Oh, yeah. I get the feeling that inadequacy.
And you know, then I say, wait a minute. And then I tell myself everything I have done, and not that, like, why can't I do it like that person, or gosh, I did all that. Why are they getting noticed? And it does take, it's the action behind that, like, I want something, but how badly, do I want it? What am I willing to do to get it? And not, again, doing anything to anybody that's harmful, but what am I willing to do? What actions am I willing to take? Who am I willing to bring in to support me with that?
I think, too, that it matters, because I've done this myself, and you've heard me. Others have heard me. I will, every once in a while, it just gets to me. I'll post it on social media, just so, especially on Facebook, just because the group of friends that I have there understand where I'm coming from, the struggles that I have with not being a big personality. Because I'll watch others, and there's a reason I surround myself with extroverts and expressors, because I'm not, right? Because I'm not. But I so enjoy that others can, and I benefit from it because they teach me so much. So for me, this is comparing myself now to what I was 8 years ago. I am the most gregarious person I'd ever want to meet compared to what I was before, right? I'm big compared to what I was before. But I don't do that. Instead, I sit there and I start feeling a little envious, and that's cool. I'm watching and I'm appreciating these personalities that are very attractive to a lot of my target market. And so that's what I'm noticing. And I'm like, I just can't see myself being like that. And sometimes I wish I could be. I wish I could be, because I'm thinking it will be easier to grow my business if I'm like that. And that's not true, because what I get reminded of, and this is why I will post it on social media, because what will happen is a friend of mine will get in touch with me, one of the many, and they'll say, enough. Yeah. You've done this to yourself before, that you're growing your business the way you need to grow your business that's suitable for you. You don't need to be anybody else, right? So it helps with the thinking to say it out loud to somebody else, to say, basically what I'm saying is, help me think a little differently. Help me see what this is really about.
The grass is not always greener.
Well, you know what I learned?
And they say you always want your own dirty laundry, not not the other, right? There's a story about that.
I love this. So this is, you got to hear what I think. This is what I think. When somebody says the grass is always greener on the other side, well, of course it is. It's AstroTurf.
Yeah, right. Or they use the rye seed. I don't have the rye seed in my grass in the winter, so no. There you go.
It's AstroTurf, people. It's not real grass. Or the
funny.
Or I want
the surface.
There you go. That's all it is.
The surface, right?
I love when it used to be. People don't say this anymore, but I want to keep up with the Joneses. I knew the Joneses.
I know, right?
I knew Joneses. Yeah. You don't want to be like that. You don't want to be like that. Trust me. They are a mess. The outside.
What's that song? Me and Mrs. Jones.
There you go.
Mrs. Jones. That was that movie with the young kid with the affair. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. But those are the words we tell ourselves. No, wacky's good.
Yeah.
Off center is fine. But those are the words we tell ourselves, right? Because that's what we say to ourselves. I mean, I'll sit and say, boy, I sure do wish I could be like that.
But you catch yourself.
Yeah.
We catch ourselves quicker when we get into it. Now that we're aware and we know about the positive mindset. So listen, I'm going to let someone else on. I'm going to do coffee with a person I've not met in person yet, but online, and we're going to do some coffee. And so I love your show. I'm telling all my birthday friends about your show to come on. So
come on. Yeah, I'd love to meet
in my world. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Betsy.
Yes. Thanks. All right.
And poor Cindy, in and out. Bless your heart. April, good morning, my dear. Really early morning. Thank you for joining us this early in the morning. Greatly appreciated. Hillary, Good afternoon to you. It's good to have you here. We're talking about you are what you think, really. We're talking about accurate thinking. So let's go. We were talking about how words matter. They just do. What you tell yourself matters. The language that we use with others matters. That the language I use matters. And because I'm using it, and if I see that it evokes a reaction rather than a response from somebody that I don't like, it behooves me. It's my responsibility to take a look at my language to see if there are better ways to say something or other words to use. Same thing applies to what I tell myself. There are better words to use. So I offer to everybody, if you're stuck on finding the better words, go online to thesaurus.com and look for some antonyms. Put in the words that you're saying to yourself and look for the opposite. All right. Then the other part of the discussion is that understanding how words matter, what we tell ourselves becomes who we are on the inside, becomes the emotional response to things. So when we go to make a decision about the direction we want to take, where we want to go, if we want to travel someplace, it may come down to weighing out pros and cons, but ultimately we're going to do what we want to do. Then we get into, I can say I want something, but my behavior and my thinking isn't in line with what I say I want. That's when we need to take a step back and take a deep breath and understand that it's up to me to change the way I think. That'll change the way I feel. That will affect if I'm going to get what I want. So it's a process. Doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it happens in 2 nights. For some, other people, who cares? Okay, I care when I start getting impatient because it hadn't happened quick enough. So why hasn't it? And I'm just going to throw this out for you because it just struck me. When I get impatient, I haven't been doing enough work on it. I think I have, but when I really think about it, I haven't really put the effort in. I'm just going to let that one sit. This is my own experience I'm talking from. When I feel that impatience not happening quick enough, I'm not finished with work. So now we get into reason and logical thinking. And it's important. It is important that we have objectivity to the best of our ability, that we work with facts. It's important that we work with facts that we consider to be truth. And when we have that is when we can then say, this is who I am, what I am, my reality right now, and I want to change it. Now I can. All ties in together. Love to have somebody jump in and talk with me because I'm hitting about the end of my ropes of what this really means. I'm going to go to the book if we're not careful and I'll read to you because you know I will. Hi, Catherine. Good to see you. Logic and accurate thinking. There's a story in the book of Napoleon Hill goes out to dinner. And he orders from the menu and he's ordering frog legs. And the frog legs that he wants the small ones, the smallest ones they have, because in his mind, those are the best tasting. Okay. It's fixed thinking. He knows that to be true. So he tells the server, I want the smallest frog legs that you have. That's what I'm ordering. All right. So the server puts his order in, soon comes back with a plate of frog legs. And Napoleon Hill's reaction is, those are not small frog legs. These are much bigger than what I wanted. Are you sure these are the smallest that you have in the kitchen? And the server assured him that yes, He had put in a special request that it was met. These are the smallest that they have in the kitchen. So Napoleon Hill, let me make sure I get this, say this correctly. So what he does is, because he's telling the server, I don't like the large ones. And the server continues to just simply says back to him, listen, these are the smallest we could find, sir. So Napoleon Hill decides, rather than be unpleasant or rude, he's going to go ahead and eat the frog legs. And he admits he enjoyed them so much he wished they'd been larger. And he learned a lesson in logic. In analyzing the matter, he realized that his conclusions about the merits of large and small frog legs had been based on the wrong premise. It wasn't the size of the frog legs that made them distasteful. It was the fact that the jumbo frog legs he had eaten the first time hadn't been fresh. And he'd associated his distaste for jumbo frog legs with size rather than spoilage. And when we're talking about accurate thinking, we're talking about how we get off of accurate thinking when we start with the wrong premise. And that's why it's important to take a step back and take a look at such the words or expressions we're using. Always, only, never, nothing, every, everyone, no one, can't, impossible. They all begin with false premises, don't they? This always happens. Well, no, it doesn't. Think past that. Think it through. This will never work. Really? And where do you get the idea that it won't work? You know, this type of thing never solves the problem. Again, what false premise are we working from? I love this because it tells me that I need to check my thinking. What words am I using? There was an experience that I had that has shadowed everything else moving forward, right? It's just, here's a classic. I call it classic. I've had this over and over again because of the business that I've owned. So I'm talking with a project partner, and she is just so frustrated because she doesn't have a personal website yet. Well, her frustration lies in a few years ago that she had paid $5,000 to somebody to build her a website. And the website didn't work. So now she don't want to pay anybody to build a website because the previous website didn't work. She paid $5,000 for that website and it didn't work. And I'm listening to her and I'm watching her. And then she says that, you know, now she's being asked to pay $500 for a website, and she's not going to pay that because, and I'm hoping she's hearing herself, and she's not. So I step in and I say, wait a minute. The experience you had a few years ago was with a different person, a different company for 10 times the money. Totally different situation. It's not the same situation now. All right, I knew she wasn't ready to change her thinking when she came right back and proceeded to tell me it is the same situation. I said, okay, have at it. So what I recognized was that false premise. Because it happened a few years ago, it's always going to happen that way. So instead of trusting the person whom she trusts with other things to build her a website, that's going to, it's time for her to have a website. She's having people ask for the website. She has content that needs to be put into a central location, a home base. She is stopping the growth of her business based on a false premise. And boy, she was holding on to it too. I wasn't going to shake her from it. And it's not my job to shake her from it. It really isn't. I just listened and said, okay. But boy, wasn't that a clear example of working from a false premise and how it hurts us today, right? It's the word she's using. that didn't work, so this isn't going to work. Really? Mm-mm. Totally different situation. Logic says, and reason says, let's set that emotion aside for a moment and look at the reality and the facts. Not even reality. Let's just look at the facts. Here's some accurate thinking for you. We'll look at the facts. The name attached to the person building the previous website, the name of that website, the purpose of that website. It deserved to be a $5,000 website. There was a purpose to it. Now, today, years later, the name of the person is different. The purpose of the website is different. The amount of money is different, and it's appropriate for the purpose of the website. Logic and reason tells me, looking at that on paper, right? Looking at that on paper, that totally different situation. But then you got to put emotion into it and experience. And so I just let her be. Good morning, Barbara. Good to have you with us. It's good to see you. So we're talking about words matter. Talking about when we make a decision, it turns out that every decision we make is really based on what we want. So I may tell myself, and the conflicts that happen, right? So I may tell myself that I want financial freedom, but my behavior is to spend money as soon as it's in my hands and to have debt. There's a disconnect there. So where's the disconnect? What am I telling myself? Is it because I don't deserve it? Is it because I do deserve to spend the money as soon as I have? Is that really what I want? What is it that I really want? I want the freedom to spend. And if that's what it boils down to, do I really want that? Let's take a look at that. Take a look at yourself. Who are you right now? Words matter. Every decision that I make is based on what I want. And let's apply a little bit of logic and reason. What we're going for, the ultimate goal, is we're looking for balance. We're looking for balance with logic and reason and the words we tell ourselves and our emotional responses to it. That's what we're looking for and what we want. When we're in balance, it's amazing the things that get done, the focus I can have, the projects that get completed, the quality of work and service that's provided, the quality of the relationships I have from people, with people, whom I'm attracting, when those are in balance. When I'm off, and that's usually what I say, and I've been on here and I've told you that, right? I've told you I'm off. I'm off today. There's a disconnect and it takes a little time. I'll get myself right again. I allow myself that because I believe we're human beings. It's part of the human condition. I don't berate myself. When I do, it's because I'm impatient, because I really would rather have not had to experience that. Doesn't matter. I did anyway. May want to jump in. Barbara is saying what I hear you saying. Think about what you want, identify the feelings associated with those thoughts, then act upon it utilizing your strengths. Okay? Understand that what you tell yourself matters. Understand that the struggles that you may be having, another way to say this is that you're telling yourself one thing, but your actions are another. Your actions reveal what your subconscious is actually telling you. So get into a habit of replacing what your subconscious is telling you by, on purpose, telling yourself things that will support your growth. And over a period of time, when you replace the words with those that are conducive to your growth, it starts happening. They become part of the subconscious auto response, if you will. They are what the emotion is tied to. Oh, Barbara just hit the nail on the head. Hard for many to reframe their thinking. It takes work. It does take work. That's why this all begins, honest to goodness, let's go to page 1. It all begins with the premise that you're going to have to want it. There's an old saying that really holds true for stuff like this. Everything we're talking about everybody needs. Right? Everybody needs this. But the only ones it works for are those who want it. So if you want it, you'll do the work. You'll join us on our journey as we grow, as we all get better in our own levels at what we consider success. We're not going to tell you what that looks like. We're not going to tell you what you should do. I'm not going to tell you that. You have your own idea of what things look like, of the character that you want, of the outcomes that you're looking for. We're just happen to be together on the journey towards it. Oh, so it's been a good morning so far. I want to encourage you that if the link, there's two things. The first one is that the PDF in the live stream is an active link. It should take you to the PDF. You're welcome to it. If you're interested in Success Principles resources, I started a page with some downloads. They're all free. And I'll be adding to it over time. So if you register, sign up, go take whatever downloads you want right now. And when I add new things, I'll send out an email and let you know that something new's been added. You're welcome to download it. Success through a positive mental attitude. Words that keep us in the negative mental attitude. Go to a thesaurus, pick a different word, and get yourself into a positive mental attitude. I know it's that simple. It is. Didn't say it was easy, did I? Sometimes there's a very simple answer, a simple solution. Well, another way to look at it, Barbara, yes, focus on strengths rather than weaknesses. One of the things I had so much difficulty with in the jobs that I had in early years was job review came around and everybody focused on my weaknesses. What do I have to improve? That meant there was all constant struggle and I never felt adequate enough. I never felt adequate enough. Yeah, it sucked the energy right out of me. An incentive. And I never had anybody, not in all the years that I was in the work world, ever talk about my strengths, other than to say, these are the positive things. These are the great things that you're doing. And then moved into, these are the things you need to work on. And they were always the same. They were always the same. All right, I'll go ahead and share with you one thing that consistent throughout every performance review. And this will give you an idea of how much has changed since I've started my own business and walked into who I am and what I should be doing and playing to my strengths. Every single performance review, and we are talking from the time that I was like 14 years old and I worked behind the counter at Baskin-Robbins. Charlene, you don't smile. That was my smile at the time. This. You don't smile. You need to be smiling more. You need to be more talkative. Consistent throughout my entire work life. And yet on the inside, trust me, this was a huge smile for me. I felt it. It was huge. Then there came a time, and as an adult, in a performance review, this poor woman had the gall to tell me that I wasn't perky enough. Yes, you see, I wasn't perky enough. And I was so angry. This is the first time I had cried in public. I was tearing up. I was so angry. And the reason I was so angry was because I had to hold it in because I really wanted to hit her. You know, that's all she could come up with. I wasn't perky enough. Yeah. So trust me when I tell you my family has had a field day with that. I still hear it. And this is, good Lord, this is 20 some odd years ago. And they still bring it up. And they just laugh. If they only knew, if they only knew what you were really like. Which means that when I'm close to people, the better I know them, the freer I am with who I am. But it takes a long time to get to know me. And that's just how I work. Right. So, do not hashtag. Do not, Samantha, that's funny, but you are perky. Okay, I would never define myself as perky. I would never call oh my gosh, I'm laughing. So this is how I'm laughing so hard. I'm starting to tear up because it's funnier than heck when I remember how angry I got. Oh, anyway, so words matter, right? This is what this was what I was being told. And I internalized a lot of it. I took it because I'm trying to fit into a world. I want this job. I want to keep this job. And so I must not be good enough, what have you. Well, I stuck to a lot of those words and they stuck with me. And I can tell you now that if they saw me now, they wouldn't recognize me. But it's because, as Barbara was talking about, focusing on strengths rather than weaknesses. What I'm telling myself today is very different than what I was telling myself then. I'm doing that which suits me, and I am playing to my strengths. And there comes with that a lot of confidence, and there comes with that levels of success. Oh, and there comes I don't want to work for anybody else if I can keep from it. Okay, now this is funny. I'm laughing at myself again. Barbara is saying, you are being authentic and genuine, and that is what's most important. You want to know what went through my mind when I heard that? Was I'm thinking you're a little bonkers right now, but hey, you're being authentic and genuine, and that's really what's important right now. Oh goodness, what we tell ourselves, right? What we tell ourselves, silliness. Sometimes it's silliness, and yes, this is exactly what happens when I'm in conversations with people face to face and we're talking about this, or I'm working with somebody who is struggling with some of this. And because I've shared before, I work with the women who have come from horrifying situations, often from the streets. They're broken, and we teach life skills. And usually, and rarely do I work with more than one at a time because it can be so emotionally draining. But when I do, we get to a point where, how did today go? How did the last week go? What are you telling yourself? What are you saying out loud? How are you presenting yourself to the world, right? And all of that. And how you do some of this stuff. And how do you be you? Well, we get to a point of you've got to figure out who you are. So that's why I'm smiling. That other people will condescend and say, well, at least you're being real. And that's, I just find it funny. Sorry. Thank you, Barbara. And so I hope that you are with me today, are thinking about, what are you telling yourself? What words are you using? Are they putting you in that negative mental attitude? Are they supporting your goals for who you want to be and where you want to go? Are they positive, negative? I don't know. What words are you telling yourself? Now, what words are you saying to other people? Right? Because remember, words matter when we say them aloud. What kind of relationships do I want with my husband? Do I want it to be peaceful and comforting and warm? Then are my actions and my words helping to make that happen? Think about that. Is that what I really want? Now, don't complicate it. Don't now question what you really want if that's what you've really wanted. I'm just asking those that there's disconnect, right? I'm not in balance here. When I'm not in balance, let's get in balance. Take a breath. Take a step back. What words are you using for yourself? What words are coming out of your mouth? What are you feeling anxious about? What decisions are you making? That could be a good indicator of Your wants are not really where you think they are. You're holding yourself back. Why? Get with other people. Get into a project. Do something with somebody else. Get with some mentors. Don't try to do any of this by yourself. Any of this includes just life, right? You're not completely alone. You don't have to be. All right, so success through a positive mental attitude. I encourage you to download the PDF. If you're unable to, and that happens for whatever reason, some are able to, some are not, and if you're interested in other resources with success principles, there's a form, email address, go to a page, the downloads there are available to you for free, and they'll be added too. I encourage you to do that. So I'm going to finish the recording. I can hang here for about 30 minutes or so, but I'd love to have conversations with you. I want to thank you for joining me in the live stream. I want to thank you in the comment section for some terrific additions to the discussion, thought-provoking in some ways. And I appreciate that. Those in the just watching, fantastic. Glad to have you here. And those watching the replay, wow, thanks for hanging with us this long. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouKnow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.